Welcome to episode 49 of the Loane Hockey Podcast, where today we're going to be talking about a special center who is playing with the Florida Panthers' recent Stanley Cup championship team, and that is Aleksander Barkov. He's the key centerman on that team. And when you talk about Aleksander Barkov, he's obviously a bigger center, but at the same time, he plays like a smaller player in the sense of how he utilizes his puck skill, how he utilizes his reach, how he utilizes his frame to initiate contact and to be able to be a threat with the puck in many different situations. And you see him do such a good job in transition and inside the offensive zone, even as a guy who's not necessarily the fastest in terms of speed off the hop, speed in terms of pivoting, speed in terms of straight line speed, any directions like that. He's not necessarily the fastest guy where you look at him and say that he's going to be the fastest skater, but you look at him at the same time, and what really separates him is his hockey sense and his anticipation to be able to understand space and how he reads space so intuitively. And that's a really big thing when it comes to him because he has a knack for understanding off puck routes that some centers don't have the ability to. And that's really hard in the modern day game where the game is so fast nowadays. And with Barkov, he's so intuitively run based on his routes inside the offensive zone, in transition, in neutral zone. This could be lateral routes with the puck. This could be lateral routes without the puck. It could be straight line routes with the puck and straight line routes without the puck. So the routes and the timing and the arrival that he's able to get to in many different situations allows him to be a constant puck support threat. So that's what differentiates him as well. Is he's really good at puck support. He's really good at understanding space intuitively. He's really good and has a knack for playing a steady two-way game. So he has a steady two-way presence. He understands his routes. He understands where to move, how to find space. He has defensive and offensive hockey sense. So you link together a lot of these different elements, you're creating a really foundational and really key player to any team. And that's what's really intriguing about him. And obviously, he's got size to be able to maneuver in small areas with the puck. He's got a longer stick, a longer reach than most players do, especially centermen, to be able to maneuver. And he plays with magic. And sometimes you see wingers who are so skilled with the puck, but with him, he's a natural center. He's big and he can play with a lot of raw skill when he has the puck on his stick. So that's what creates a lot of intrigue when I talk about him, and that's why I'm so fascinated by his game and understanding his game because of the puck skills and the coordination. He's so coordinated when it comes to being able to maneuver, being able to understand how to maneuver in so many different settings. And this could be in transitional space. This could be inside offensive zone entries. He's a really big threat when moving laterally. That's his biggest differentiator when he has the puck. He's moving laterally, not moving in a straight line way, because moving laterally allows him to add some shiftiness, add some dynamic hands, add some dynamic skill, add some puck positioning, add some hip pocket usage to be able to throw off some defenders and be able to extend possessions in a variety of ways. So he's really skilled, also handling the puck on his backhand as well. That's another big thing. Sometimes centers don't have that ability. Sometimes wingers don't even have that ability, but let alone Barkov, who is super coordinated. He's a big player, big rangy player who really understands how to utilize his backhand. And this could be in sequences where he's trying to not only extend possessions off the wall or on the wall area, but it can be where he's trying to maneuver to the net and he's trying to hold off a defenseman and he can backhand shot release, or he can do a situation where he utilizes puck protection and he can use it from range. So he's really slick with his puck positioning, how he utilizes it. That's a big thing when it comes to him is he really understands that component, and that's a really interesting quality to have for him is being able to utilize his body, utilize his reach, utilize his feet, and link together his feet with his mind and his hands. So Barkov's a really unique transition threat. He's a really key player defensively as well. That's another big thing when it comes to him. He's not underrated anymore by any means. Everybody knows about him, and everybody knows that they just won the cup in Florida. So everybody knows about Barkov, the skill in his game, the dimensions to his game, the versatility, the consistency, all those different things. And you add to that he's a leader and he's captain, and you're combining a lot of core elements for a really special player. So with Barkov, I love watching him in transition because, like I said before, he's not the fastest player, but he maneuvers so well with the puck and he maneuvers at such a high pace with the puck, not with his feet or with his mind necessarily, but more so with the puck. And he's so slick at being able to change angles and change puck positioning angles, being able to utilize that reach and at the same time utilize that extension within his stick to be able to hold guys off, hold defenders off, and extend plays. And this can be in a variety of situations, but he is also really skilled when it comes to defensive habits and defensive habits in terms of being able to support low, being able to utilize the stick. He checks his shoulders constantly, so he's aware on both sides of the ice in terms of where to be and position himself. His positioning is really aware, and he's always aware of the next play. He's always aware of what he needs to do, always aware of how he needs to get to space and shut down space. So the defensive habits and the offensive habits really do link together when they're talking about his game and the unique components of his game and how they link together. And Barkov's a really intriguing threat when you really look at the versatility of his game. He's a dual threat player. He's evolved in more of a scorer too. And that's another big thing is yes, he's a playmaker. Yes, he's really good at making plays. Yes, he's really good at making a first pass and a crisp pass. At the same time, he has some scoring instincts. He has a knack for finding the net. He has a knack for understanding space in and around the crease. He has a knack for understanding how to move into space. So creating passing lanes for his teammates to pass to him. So that's really effective when talking about him. And he's really skilled, really versatile. There's not too much when you really look at the depths of his game. There's obviously some flaws that any player would have, but when you look at him from a raw perspective, not analyzing too much, you don't necessarily see a ton of flaws in his game right away. You have to dive a little bit deeper to really understand what he could do better, what he can do to improve upon himself. And so Barkov's a really intriguing player, and he's so skilled. He's so key in all situations. I go back to this before, but there's a little bit of Pavel Datsyuk in terms of his puck handling skills. Not necessarily the deception, the on puck deception, but I would say in terms of Barkov's actual finesse and skill, I see some Datsyuk in terms of how he's able to maneuver, how he's able to create space, how he's able to get around the guys, how he's able to get around defenders, and how he's able to extend possessions and extend space and utilize the full extension within his stick is key as well. So with him, that's really interesting when really talking about his game and talking about his game in full, because you're getting a lot of different elements when it comes to his game that can be relied upon in so many different situations and settings as well.